Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm Scott Jordan, and this week we continue on with our 2024 series previews, and now we're going to talk about Arena Championship Series Central, and to help me dive into that series, we're going to go to the Great Clips hotline to bring in Monster Mutt Dalmatians, Jamie Sullivan. Jamie, welcome to Inside Monster Jam. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed watching this all year long, so it's really cool to actually be on it my rookie season.
Well, we have been talking about you a lot. You can catch a lot of Jamie's action on Arena in 30 powered by Spin Master on Sunday mornings right here on MAV TV as well as our YouTube channel. But Jamie, big year ahead of you in 2024 on Arena Championship Series Central. Before we get to that, let's go back to the beginning for you. When you power up monsterjam.com and click on your profile, talks a lot about your early career in oval racing. So let's talk about your journey to Monster Jam through that oval racing track into UNOH, into MJU, and now behind the wheel of Monster Mutt Dalmatian.
Yeah, so I actually got started when I was like 9 years old. It kind of was a family sport. My dad grew up racing when he was younger up in New York and Pennsylvania, and he got me into it when I was 9 years old. He bought me a go-kart. It was a dirt go-kart. Ran that with my sister actually for a couple of years, and then ended up moving into a stock car when I was 11. So I got to do that, and from there it really just took off. Of course, I wrenched on my own car with my dad, so it was really cool to have that family bond. And I did stock cars for a few years, and then when I was 16, I moved up to pro trucks on asphalt. And then, of course, when I was 18, asphalt super late models, which is one of the higher divisions of short track racing. So it was really cool to get that. Of course, I've had my family support my whole life long. But in 2019, I decided I really wanted to make a career in motorsports. I wanted to take it further and really achieve that dream that I had set forth myself, especially being a female in a male-dominated industry. So we ended up touring UNOH, University of Northwestern Ohio, which is an automotive and high-performance school. And we ended up touring that place in March of 2019. That was 2 months before I graduated high school. And my dad told me after that, if I didn't go there, he was going to go there. The only thing holding me back was it was 16 hours from home. So it was definitely something that I was either going to make it or I was going to break it. So I ended up going there. We had our own dirt car team. We also had our own dirt track that was pretty much like 2 miles from the school. So it was called Lima Land Motorsports Park. And we had UNOH dirt car, stock cars, and UMP modified. So I ended up starting out as a crew member working on the stock cars. Got a little bit of knowledge. A few months into it, though, I was immediately in a race car, getting to drive at our local track, the Lima Land Motorsports Park. So it was really awesome to get that. And then I also got the opportunity to actually travel down to Volusia Speedway Park a couple times for the World Championship of dirt track racing. So it was really cool to go down there for Speed Weeks, one of the biggest events, and really just get all those connections. And really, it was my best choice ever. I actually got my degree in automotive and high performance motorsports. UNOH has really been a big part of my career and success because UNOH has partnered with Monster Jam. So I had so many different connections with that really led me to working for an independent monster truck team. So I got to work for Raising Cane monster truck teams. Not many people know, but I crewed for them for about 2 years and got some knowledge of what it takes to actually build these trucks and work on them. So I know if I did ever drive in the future. But I did get to work with them. And then, and I think it was 2020 that they let me drive in one event. It wasn't really a big event, but it was something to get started in the seat behind the wheel of Raising Cane. So that was really cool, getting to drive such an iconic truck. And then, of course, last year, I got to drive for about 3 or 4 months in the FTI Torque truck for Raising Cane Monster Trucks in the All-Star Monster Truck Tour. So I got to do that until they finally did get out of the monster truck scene. So then I was graduating with my automotive and high performance degree, and I really didn't know where I was going and what I was going to do. So I ended up just randomly making a video and a resume and sending it off to Feld Entertainment, Monster Jam. And of course, somehow it worked out. I got to audition last year and trained with Tom Mintz at MJU. And now here I am.
It's an amazing story. A lot of people think you were just this overnight success that got your degree and started driving, but you've really cut your teeth in this sport. Shout out to JR McNeil and Raising Cane. I love JR. He helped me so much when I was starting out in this business, but you have been at this for a while and you have really done an amazing job to get there. And you were going to find out where that journey led coming up next with Jamie Sullivan on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. This week, I'm joined by Monster Mutt Dalmatians, Jamie Sullivan. Jamie, you talked a little bit about your journey into Monster Jam, and again, I want to reiterate for a lot of fans out there that were familiar with you. It seems like you just popped in to Monster Mutt Dalmatian and started in this series, but you have had an amazing journey. You have really earned this spot. What was your time working with Jeremy McNeil like? Let's talk about that first.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. When I worked for J.R. McNeil in the Raising K Monster Truck team, I actually started out in Tampa, Florida, and I got to start crewing for both Buddy Tompkins and Kristen. It was really awesome getting to actually work and learn from them because I mean they have so much knowledge. They've been doing it for so many years, and it was the greatest experience of my life. It really brought me into the scene. And I really got to meet so many different people. Like the first weekend I was ever crewing for them, I got to meet Dennis Anderson. We had a conversation, and it was just like, this is actually happening. This is my childhood dream since I was like 5 years old. So it was really awesome to get to experience that.
Well, yeah, that experience puts you on Arena Championship Series Central this past season in 2023. It was ultimately won by Gravedigger's Brandon Vincent. So let's talk about your rookie season. You go through that season. Brandon wins the series, goes to World Finals, very tough competitor. You get nominated for Rookie of the Year. What was it like for you to finally put all this hard work into fruition and compete in a Monster Jam Arena Series?
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome. We had so many great drivers on our tour. Brandon Vincent, we had John Zimmer Jr., who's a really an upcoming star. Of course, Cody Saucier, who's been doing it for years. The Talachkas, even as an independent, they are so great. Like it was so cool to actually get to learn from all of them with all of their experience. I think that was one of the greatest tours to be on. Of course, I tried to teach myself so many things while I was out there and learning from them. It really helped build where I'm at now. I would say my first quarter was a little rocky. We did have a bunch of rollovers and different things that involved some damage to the truck, but like I was trying to teach myself as much as I possibly could because I knew I was either going to make it or break it in the sport. And starting out my rookie season, of course, I've got over 15 wins, different competition wins under my belt already. And being nominated for Rookie of the Year, there were so many great drivers out there. And it was definitely a tough competition. So it was awesome. I had such a great time. I got to meet so many different fans. Being in such an iconic truck, it's really like you have such a great fan base already. So it was really fun to actually meet them and see them all decked out in their Dalmatian gear.
You did not have an easy path at all. How were you not sweating bullets? Because for me, if I'm put on a tour and I have Brandon Vincent, John Zimmer Jr., Cody Saucier that I have to compete with every night, how were you not sweating bullets and nervous every night? Because I would have been like, holy crap, these are some of the biggest stars in the sport. These are some incredible racers, and you held your own, that's no easy task. So how were you able to keep your composure and your poise and compete every night and be successful?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, I stay pretty focused on things like with this starting and being my first quarter, I was very like kind of quiet. I focused on my driving and everyone else's driving to try and improve myself because I beat on myself all the time. I'm my biggest competitor, so it's definitely something I try to do in order to keep building my career. And of course, I had my family come out and support me at so many different events. Like I said, I grew up racing with my family, so having them come out to the events, it really helped me just think like I'm living my dream. So no matter what happens out here, I'm still having fun. I get to actually do this, making my dad proud. So that was something that helped for sure.
And that dream did not end with the end of the series because you just did a couple stadium events. You went to Glendale, you went to Houston, you went to Arlington, and I believe your last event you finished fourth overall. So you are really starting to pick up steam. How were the stadiums for you?
Oh my gosh, it was such a fun experience. I mean, these are the greatest drivers in Monster Jam, getting to be on a stadium. So I really didn't know what to expect going into it, especially with starting out with a new track. I didn't even know it was going to be a new track till the week of. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? But it actually made it a lot more competitive. As I didn't know the track, but neither did all these drivers that have been driving for years. So it definitely helped make it a little bit easier for me. It was something to get used to. Of course, Glendale was more of like a test tune on what I was supposed to do. And then, of course, Arlington, I really just kind of set forth and did as much as I possibly could. Had a pretty good freestyle, and then in Houston, it was like I was running for the overall. If I didn't end up flipping early in freestyle and not getting a score, we definitely could have been in contention for at least top two. But we finished fourth, which was really cool because I mean, we had all the Andersons out there. Colt Stevens was out there. We had Caleb Blood. Like they're all such great drivers who've been driving for many, many years. So really getting to actually compete with them and being fourth out of 12 drivers, that was something I didn't think was going to happen. So it was really cool. Of course, I'm starting to work on those moonwalks and walking it out as far as I can. And really, Tom Mintz, Camden Murphy, Tristan England, all of them back at MJU really helped me start building that and learning that a little bit more. I'm really trying to bring women into doing those moonwalks and to really just achieving things in such a competition that is really challenging for sure.
You've been very impressive, and I am not easily impressed, Jamie Sullivan. But for you to go from arenas to stadiums to the Superstar Challenge, that's quite impressive. So well done. We're going to talk about that next and preview Arena Championship Series Central that is coming up next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. We are back with more Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. This week, I'm joined on the Great Clips Hotline by Monster Mutt Dalmatian's Jamie Sullivan. Jamie, we've been talking about your progression throughout your very young career in Monster Jam, and that leads us to being selected to compete at the Superstar Challenge, which is a huge deal. That is a gigantic spot to be in. Only 16 drivers were chosen. You joined Team Neon with Kristen Anderson and Lindsay Reed. Of course, Caleb Blood on Team Nitro, so 4 female drivers chosen for this team. You were one of only 2 rookies besides Chris Kohler to be a part of it. So what does that mean to you to be a part of this gigantic event that took place at Angel Stadium in Anaheim?
You know, I got a text from Keith Speller that asking if I was available the weekend of November 11th, and I'm just thinking to myself, there's no way. Like he's thinking of me as like somebody from media or a judge or something. There's no way I'm driving in this insane event with such great drivers. But then, of course, I seen the announcement online that I was driving, and really that just like it kind of put me in tears. Like, I'm actually doing this. This is my rookie season. I'm getting to drive with such amazing drivers in a stadium at my 4th ever stadium event. And of course, I actually crewed for the Raising Cane team in Anaheim too. So it's going to bring back a lot of memories while I'm there. And I mean, I'm just excited for it for sure.
It's such an iconic venue. It's my favorite stadium. My first ever event was at Angel Stadium. It's a smaller track because of the baseball field, but this is the first time we did an all-star event, a superstar event, whatever you want to call it, since 2019. So just an absolute huge deal for everybody to come together and do this. And congratulations on that and being a part of that team. Now let's do what everybody's been waiting for. That's to preview the 2024 Arena Championship Series Central lineup. So you will line up against 2-time series champion Weston Anderson and Gravedigger. Brianna Mahan making her grand return into Scooby-Doo. You get Michaela and Brandon Talachka back, and then Frank Krimmel Jr. as well. So let's talk about the drivers that have been at least confirmed on this tour. First, we're going to start with Weston Anderson. It doesn't get any better than that kid. 2 years in the sport, 2 series championships, 2 trips to World Finals, that he's dominated. So how do you plan on trying to take that 3rd series championship away from Weston Anderson?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, I've been running with him pretty much almost all of my events after first quarter. So getting to drive against him, it's definitely tough. I have gotten to beat him a couple times, so it's definitely tough to do. But I tell people all the time, this dog likes to put Grave Digger in the ground and bury him. So that's one thing I'm going to keep it on with this quarter coming up with Central. But I mean, it's definitely going to be a tough tour. Weston is one of the greatest drivers. Just starting out, he's only been doing it for I think 2 years now, and it's incredible to see what he's doing in the sport. And of course, I get to learn from him, and being able to learn from him these shows I've already had, I think that's going to help too going into the first quarter.
And Weston, I love Weston. He's very confident. He backs it up. He does not like to hear when somebody beats him. So the fact that you just said you've beaten him a few times, I hope that he does watch this. I may send it to him just so he hears you say I have beaten him a few times. So that may add a little fuel to the fire. Let's talk about Brianna Mahan. So she takes a little time off to grow a family, which is amazing for her. I had her on this show. She wants to get back. She's coming back into Scooby Doo, the truck that really kind of started it for her as far as that run goes. So talk about the pleasure of lining up against Brianna Mahan, who really for a few years has been one of the faces of this women's evolution that's taken over Monster Jam.
She's actually one of the drivers I looked up to coming into Monster Jam. Her and Cynthia Gauthier, they were the drivers I looked up to. Really cool to actually have her on my tour next year and get to experience this together. I know she's a really good driver, and she also just came back and already got a couple racing wins and other wins. So really awesome to see that. And I feel like us together on that tour, of course, with Michaela Talachka, it's going to be a tough tour for sure, especially for women in motorsport.
Yeah, it's great for our female fans to see so many dominant women in the sport competing night after night. So let's talk about Michaela Talachka. She's coming off her rookie season as well. Her brother Brandon is a part of that team. Mitch, their dad, is their crew chief, who just became one of the technicians of the year this past year. They're tough to beat. Brandon won a couple overall events his last season with you as well. Michaela, always a tough out, but she started to grow as a driver. So what is it like competing with the Talachkas night after night?
One thing people also don't know is when I started driving for Raising Cane Monster Trucks last year for the All-Star Tour, the Talachkas were on my tour. This past year, the Talachkas were on my tour. And
you can't get away from them, Jamie. You can't get away from them.
Really awesome to get to experience this with them. I mean, they're such great people. So I love it. It's definitely a good time for sure. And they are great drivers. Michaela has grown so much since I used to drive against her, and seeing what she can do with nose wheelies. And of course, Brandon, he's able to stick it up on one wheel or on the nose and just let it sit there. It's really awesome to see how much they've improved as well. And of course, I've heard some other things about some people replacing Michaela while she does nursing school. So I think that's going to make it a little bit more interesting too.
Have you ever lined up against Frank Krimmel?
I haven't yet. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, Frank has done everything in the sport. Always a great guy, very reliable in there with Stone Crusher. Let's talk about, there's a couple TBAs always popular around this time of year. There's a possible open spot for an El Toro Loco. And I want to preface this. I have no inside information on this. This is my opinion, but there's a gentleman, Fernando Martinez, who made his debut a little while ago in Nampa, Idaho, who won 3 out of 4 overall event championships. Absolutely insane. You talk about other rookies, Joe Dennis, Berto Trevino debuted, Angelina Knock in Puerto Rico as well. But some opportunities for some other rookie drivers to come in and take these spots. So if you could give advice to any of those drivers, if they come to Arena Central, what would it be?
I would just say really keep your mind focused on driving and just having fun with it. Of course, the fans are what it's all about. So as long as you're putting on a great event for them, that's all that matters. And I mean, it's definitely a good time. It's tough. People will break you down. Things will break you down. But of course, you still got to get back up, keep pushing, and just keep on doing it because, man, someday you're going to be that Ryan Anderson, that Adam Anderson, that Tom Mintz of the sport. And, you just really got to keep pushing for it.
And you've done that, and you've gone, I think your first event, you finished 8th overall, then a 6th overall, then a 4th overall, the Superstar Challenge. I think you have a shot against Weston Anderson, and I want to hear right now that you feel like you can beat Weston Anderson and win the Central. Can you do it?
Oh, yeah, Weston Anderson's going down.
I love that. Coming up next, your fan questions for Jamie Sullivan. She's previewing Arena Central right here on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. This week, I'm joined on the Great Clips Hotline by Monster Mutt Dalmatian's Jamie Sullivan as we talk about her career and preview Arena Championship Series Central. Now it's time for your fan questions. You can stay involved in the conversation each and every week by following me on Instagram at ScottJordanMJSX. Jamie, are you ready to answer your fans?
Oh, I'm excited.
Let's do it. So Andy Laseski, and I hope I pronounced that right, wants to know, when do you think your pivot point this year was? In other words, what was the moment you started feeling like a big threat on the track? And he says, in his opinion, it was Savannah that you turned the corner and started really making a name for yourself.
Oh yeah, let me say I did start teaching myself stuff in quarter 1, and that's really was my learning experience. But yeah, Savannah was definitely where it really hit. It took off, and I really had a lot more confidence going into other events. So I think yeah, that is definitely my pivot point, and that's where it started to take off. And of course, the stadiums really helped a lot. Like I really didn't expect to do as good as I did on those. So I mean, I think that's probably where it started as well.
All right. Well, Jamie Fan all the way, who obviously is a big fan of yours, is asking, how long do you think you'll be in arenas before you transition into stadiums, and how do you feel that you keep winning each and every week and elevating your game?
I really hope to be on stadium soon. I was talking to Kayla about it. It'd definitely be cool to be on tour with her in stadium events. Of course, hopefully, I'm hoping this is my last year in arenas. Arenas are fun too. It's definitely cool to see what we can do in these arenas as far as skills and different freestyles that just make it a little bit crazier. But stadiums, I've definitely loved so far. And I really hope to keep on improving in them and really just making it hopefully my future.
Well, arenas, in my opinion, are a little more skilled. You have to really be creative with that. I say that all the time on Arena in 30. You have to really create your own moments. But in stadiums, in the words of my former broadcast partner, Colt Stevens, you are able to really let her eat. So it's a bit of a difference there. You got to be creative in one, and you can really let it fly in the other. So let's go here. This is a non-monster truck question. So Shadow VSG Ghost wants to know, would you rather have unlimited bacon but play no games, or unlimited games but no more bacon? So, I don't know what that means, but bacon or games, or play games and no bacon.
I'd have to go with bacon. I love bacon. I have to have it like every morning. So
I like that answer. I would go with that as well. Brennan.Jop wants to know, how do you mentally and physically prepare yourself for your first stadium events?
it was definitely tough. I had a lot of nerves going into it, but of course, I talked to like Colt Stevens, Caleb Blood, and a couple of the other drivers to really understand like what I was getting myself into. So talking to them really helped a lot. Getting to walk the track and really just see what jumps were, how I could clear them, and make it safe, to get through the first 30 seconds of my freestyle to get a score. So it was definitely tough at first. I had a lot of nerves going into it, but of course, I had a lot of support too. So it really helped.
Thank you, Jamie. You can see Jamie Sullivan compete on Arena Championship Series Central, which begins January 6th at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. As for me, I'll see you right here next week on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.